is good. He is so good. He has kept us. There's nothing that we've done so great.
Hi, Willie.
To be here. Praise God. Hey, whoa, it's different look. Whoa, man.
You're meeting Sasha. You're meeting Sasha.
Holy
absolutely,
God.
Absolutely. Hey,
next time I'm getting myself an afro. Next time I'm getting an afro.
You should. Okay. Yes, you should.
You guys got me laughing already. Now I was trying to be serious, try to get in there.
My hair is different. Awesome.
But we got a lot to talk about. I got to tell you. Listen, today, Super Bowl week. What do you think of the Super Bowl, Gary?
I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
Oh wow, you're really not into. But you're into sports. I mean, in terms of running and triathlons and things like that.
Yeah, but I'm a participant, not a. You know what? It's just got too political for me lately. It's too much politics. Oh, really? It's I'm sick of it. So I just said I'll participate in sports, but I don't want to watch any anymore.
Yeah, but I heard there was a few people that I don't know what the numbers were that watched it overall, but I heard that there was a few people that was boycotting it, and they called for a boycott because of political statements and people doing other things. But anyway, we're going to get to that. What did you hear, brother Dr. Johnson?
Well, like you said, when you say political aspects of the NFL, there's a lot of things going on now. And what it is that people are seeing exactly what needs to be done, and they're stepping up. But people who are stepping up also risking their careers as well. The gentleman, as I was stating, from the Miami football team, that got let go because he was telling the owner, said, every game that you tank, I'm gonna give you $100,000. So he was telling them that, and he didn't. He told.
Wait. Say that again. I missed that.
He was gonna give him $100,000 for every game he tanked. That means
every game that he deliberately blew.
Yes.
Oh wow. See, with that kind of things going on. I mean,
but how do they know if they blew a game? I don't understand.
I mean, they don't know, but the way they played, he was asking him, but they don't have. I don't know if he got any proof on the phone, him talking to him or anything, texting him, but that's what he had told, because they let him go and everybody was shocked. Why did you let a coach that good go? And he told him what was asked for him to do so he can get a higher draft choice, in the long run. So it's just a lot of things went on with that situation. He's suing the NFL for not having enough diversity about NFL coaches, GMs, and just coaches, period. So it's
how many general managers are there in the NFL?
It's 32 general managers because it's 32 teams.
How many blacks?
From what I know, maybe about 3 or 4.
Really?
3 or 4, yes. There's one on the Vikings, one for...
Wait a minute. General managers or head coach?
General managers.
Okay.
General manager runs the head coach. Yeah, it's one in Detroit, actually, that they have that's pretty good that came from Los Angeles Rams. So I keep up with that because I'm a sports fanatic.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you do, because I get bits and pieces of information, and people they want to put their narrative forth. And they come up with the different numbers of to put forth their narrative. So therefore, I'm glad you know about it, because what I actually heard is there's no black general managers.
Yes, it is.
But maybe I misheard. Maybe there's no.
No, you good.
Owners. Huh?
But I'm gonna tell you, if you watch the halftime of the NFL championship, did you see what Eminem did?
Well, I heard he did something, but no, I didn't see what he did.
He kneeled down like Kaepernick and had his head down. So he was showing that it's still going on in the NFL. The distance between having things correct and right among.
Are you sure he wasn't just praying? Are you sure?
Hey, I don't think he had to pray. Eminem was working.
Hey, Claudine, what is your take on it?
Wait, Claudine, you gotta tell me. Let me just ask Claudine a question here. Are you trying to look like Dolly Parton here? Well, you gotta.
Please, Gary, do ask me. Please ask me. Ask me,
I'm
Gary.
trying. You look.
You
Are you
guys,
trying to be like Dolly Parton here? I love the blonde.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay, I see.
I see you meet Sasha. This is Sasha, Sassy Sasha. Okay.
oh, wow. Wow.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
Wow.
It looks fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Wow.
you. Thank
I
you.
love the
Thank
look.
you. This is part of the new me. Yeah. And don't be
Okay.
surprised.
I love the look.
A few
I
weeks
love the
later,
look.
you may meet someone else.
Well, I just want to say, Claudine, we're glad that you're feeling better. We know you had a serious car accident.
Yes.
You were wearing a neck brace.
Yes.
I'm glad
yes.
you're not. You look fantastic. Thank God your health is better. We love
Thank
you.
you.
So,
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you
That
so
is
much.
correct.
Thank you so much. I'm not so dependent on it anymore. If I'm traveling, especially if I'm not the one driving, I tend to wear it, but to God be the glory. I am so
Amen.
grateful for all the prayers that everyone prayed for me, and the fact that, you know what, I had some good physical therapists and doctors that was working with me.
Amen.
And I'm still in the struggle. I'm still there because, you know what, I definitely have to sleep with like a thing there on my
what
entire
advice?
back. But
What advice
it's
would you
good.
have for our listeners regarding driving? What advice, if you had to do it over? What suggestions do you have?
Just when you're driving, you have to drive not just for you alone. You
That's
also
right.
have to drive for the person
Absolutely.
other people that are on the road.
That is
And
true.
this happened in such a split second that because I was midway in the intersection, I was there, and she thought she could have passed me before, you know, it would have been a head on, and I tried my best.
She was coming the other direction.
Yeah, I was on the main road, and she was turning off on a side road, and she just thinks she had enough room to make I don't know what was happening, but she was shaken up. And then not only that, she drove away from the scene. I drove her down, but at the end of the day,
you had to chase
this is
her? You had
what
to
is
chase her
happening.
down?
Yeah, I drove
had
her
to
down.
chase her?
I caught
A hit and run?
her.
Oh, wow. A hit and
Yeah,
run?
but the thing, not only
Yeah.
that too, this is what is happening out there. And I'm telling everyone, be careful. There are people out there causing accidents, and they're driving away from the
Yes.
scene.
That is
Right?
true.
They're driving away from the scene. And I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was coming from church, and I witnessed the same thing happening. There was this guy that was just being a nuisance on the road, and he ended up hitting this car, and he drove away. His car could hardly move, but he drove away from the scene, left the driver and everyone. So this is
Claudine, did the police get involved? Did they at least give a ticket or arrest this person who ran away from you or not?
No, they didn't arrest the person, and
But did they come?
They did not. They did not.
They didn't come?
No, not only that. No, hold on. When I caught up with the person, I said, "What is going on?" And she said, "You hit my car." And I said, "I hit your car and you drove away from the scene." I didn't even realize how bad my injuries were. I said, "You drove away from the scene and I hit your car." So can we exchange information, please? Could you please pull over? Because she didn't want to pull over. So she pulled over, and by the time I got out the car, so I took a picture of the license plate quickly, and she said, "Are you gonna call the police?" I said, "You know what? You should call the police." So I dialed the police same time. When I looked, she was driving away again. Police said to me,
she left to see. Well, did you wait there for the police?
Yes, I waited for the police. So the police said to me, "Do not drive her down. Let her go. Do not drive her down. Do you have a picture of her license plate?" And I said, "Yes." But she drove up the road and she stopped, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
the police came, took the information and everything. And yeah, when she called, she got the she got his boss, because he came to the scene. The one I got was the one on patrol in that area. But when she called, she got the boss of him. And so when he came, he was saying he's going to take over. And the officer that was there already said, "No, I got this. I got this." It said,
really?
He said, "Boss, I got this," right? And he was saying to her that, "You know what happened?" And she said she turned and she gave him the story, and he said, "You know that you are wrong. As a matter of fact, you're also wrong."
Wait a minute.
Away
She
from
told the
scene.
truth? She told him the truth?
She lied.
She said she wasn't wrong, right? because I hit her car and she was turning on a minor road. When she told him the story, he said to her, but you're going on a minor road. She has the right of way,
Yes.
so you should have stopped.
She thought she was correct. That's why she did it. She thought she was correct.
Yes, so I don't think she knew she was wrong, but when she told him the entire story, then she said she drove away from the scene because she felt threatened, right? So I said, I lost consciousness for a few minutes because she said she was there waiting and I didn't come out the car. And I remember blocking out for a few minutes. And then when I came back to, I saw turn around to get up. Then she was driving away. I could have lost my life if I didn't have my seatbelt on. I would not have been here today. You understand?
Wow.
I would not have been here today. But yeah, he said he's not arresting anyone today. I know he talked to his soup. He's not arresting anyone today.
Did he write a report? Did he make out a report for you?
Yes, he made out a report, but
that's what counts. That's a lot of people don't allow that. And some now the police it just takes them such a long time. Some of them don't even respond to
But you know what? But you have a lawyer. Your lawyer gets the information from the police station, because I was in.
That's why you have to get that report. You have to
get that report.
Get that report, because it's good that she told her part of the story
and thought she was correct.
She thought she was right. I don't know what the
message for today is look out for the other guy. They're not necessarily polite. They could be rude. A lot of these people think that they're privileged, so they think it's your job to get out of their way. Some people are impaired. Some people are on their phone. Some people are older. In Florida, there's a lot of accidents down here.
Yeah, some people are drunk. Some people are on all type of medicine. It's all kind of stuff they're doing. They shouldn't be doing.
Well, like she said, you got to drive for everybody.
But not only that, everyone said to me, if it was the reverse, I would have gone to jail.
Why? Because she was white. Come on, let's get there. There we go.
Yep.
Well, she didn't see them.
No, honestly, I didn't see that. I didn't, because I didn't want. I was just so afraid and so shaken up.
Everyone was saying, how did she get to the guy's boss? She must know somebody.
That's what I'm saying.
How did there's some connection.
I'm saying, I wonder if she's a movie star or whatever or something like that. But
listen, Claudine, you got to get to a lawyer. All right.
I hope she did.
Absolutely.
I know Claudine got a lawyer.
I'm going to shoot back over to the situation, but that happens so much. And like you said, a lot of people feel privileged. They feel like, they don't have to answer to the rules and regulations that other people do. So it's good to always, but you know what I find in my kid's car, they gave me one. They have these cameras and they're very cheap. They're like, I think $15, and it goes in your front of your car, and it monitors and it records everything. You can push back and record. I think it's good to have those because people tell all kinds of lies, but that camera don't lie. And when you can replay it,
wind it,
then that you don't have to say anything about who was in the right, who was in the wrong. The camera speaks for itself. I think that's a lot of things. And these cameras are very inexpensive today, and it's good to have.
Hey, Willie, can I just talk about our guest tomorrow, because I can't stay on for the whole hour today?
Oh, what time it is? We got another program coming up at 3. Oh, go ahead. We got another program coming up at 3.
Well, yeah, coach up with Ben Johnson, Dr. Ben Johnson.
Yes. Go ahead, but we got time.
We got to promote that show. We got to get people watching it. So, listen, I want to just, I'm excited about our guest tomorrow that we have. This woman used to have, Melissa Tate, she used to have 500,000 followers on Twitter, 500,000, but they canceled her. They canceled her Twitter account. So she's a conservative. She's born in Africa, there she is, a beautiful woman. She's been an author. She's been a business owner. She created a home business. She was very successful. She had 5 people working for her. She sold her business. Very impressive. So now she's a political commentator, social media influencer, and she gives talking speeches, and she's now an investment advisor. So I'm really excited. Yes, about Melissa Tate. You see her picture there, Willie? I don't know if you can see it.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And she wrote a privilege here. Here it goes. I love it. White privilege. She wrote a book.
Oh,
But
wow.
she crossed out white and said choice privilege. And I think I spoke to her today briefly. What her point of view is, she came to America from a place that was oppressed to a place that was freedom, and she experienced great freedom. But there's been a change in this country, and she's not even allowed. She's not even allowed to have a voice. She got canceled because of she doesn't agree with the protectorate. So I'm excited. Please join us tomorrow for Melissa Tate, who's going to be our guest, and hopefully she'll get 500,000 followers on Gab or some other platform.
Great. Well, I can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah,
And,
that is
she's
great.
doing investment. Wow. We are here with our we're trying to teach young people about investing, not gambling. We tell them, if you want to gamble, you go to the casino. But we want to teach them a lot about investing. But anyway,
she's pretty impressive. So I told her she's probably somebody that we may want on a regular basis. But it's up to you and Ben. You guys make a decision.
I'm looking forward to that. That is so great. Great.
As long as you buy the book, Gary, buy the books, and we'll make
You
sure
guys,
that she comes on there.
Okay. Last question. I'm not going to say anything else about it. How do we get more Black owners of teams in the NFL? There's no club that we have not been invited to, and still we have Blacks that can afford to buy these teams, but they're not letting them in. How do we shed light on that?
We got to boycott. It's up to the
players. They tried that.
No, hold it. Let me explain it. The players have to say stuff. Players are not wanting to say things because the owners, like, for example, when they went to put down one knee, Dallas owner said,
they went crazy.
Yeah, he said, if I catch y'all guys doing that, all this money that I gave you guys, it's not going to be good for you guys. So they didn't do it. So, when you got somebody got your livelihood in their hands, it's going to take certain special people to step up. And it's hard to step up in there. Willie, when you know me. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. When it's millions, go ahead.
No, yeah, I understand that. But again, they're threatening these young guys because they never had any money, and now they're millionaires. They're getting these big dollar payments. But if you look at the big picture, they're getting pennies compared to what the owners are getting. Is Claudine, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't look over you. I was coming to you about the NFL, and we stopped at Ben. But go ahead and put your spill on it, and then we'll come right back to you, Ben.
Yeah, and you know what? If it is you want to see change, you have to be the change. And so therefore, if it is that you have the money and you want to see the change, stop saying no one else is doing this, no one else is doing that.
That's
do
right.
it. Go right ahead and do it. And
Yes.
then be that example. And once it is that you start, then somebody else will start. That is how I see it. Right? So we just need to stop talking and do it.
That is correct.
Well, because I understand their participation of rating. I mean, the people that watched the last NFL, the rating was way down, and there was have some issues. I haven't heard the numbers this time, but I'm assuming that it's got to be way up, because if you notice, nobody had masks on there. I didn't see anybody. Did you see anybody? Any players? Anybody?
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I know. I seen bits and pieces of it.
I saw it. Like I said, when I say boycott, I mean that when you do things, they said that what they're going to try to do is penalize every team, and they got to pay a certain fine if they just don't hire coaches. This is what they're doing. They're inviting these coaches in and giving them interviews, but the coaches, the Black coaches, know that they're not going to get hired.
How many Black coaches do they have in the NFL?
All I know is maybe two now. But the thing they were saying, what happened right quick, is that the coach from Miami was called by Bill Belichick and said, congratulations for getting the job at the New York Giants. but he made a mistake and called the wrong coach. But the coach that got the job, it was like a week ahead of time before they even interviewed somebody. So what they saying, they're doing backroom deals already. That's showing that they already picked the people. So no matter if you did come in and being black or any other race, they already picked them. That's what's been going on.
Oh,
yeah, wow. Well, I think it's got to be brought up to the main to the masses, and this racism that's going on in there has to stop, because Colin Kaepernick, he put out a movie and I saw it, and
I like
it's calling it just, that it's another form of slavery. They're paying the young people, but they're getting a fraction of what they're actually earning. I mean, if they said keep your pay and just give us a percentage of the take, a small percentage, they would be billionaires instantly. So I think they have more power than what they think. They're saying if you make any gestures or, as though you're for the cause or something, we're not going to tolerate it. But on the other hand, the people that they got, they want them. They will do anything to keep them. And the players have more power than they really think they do, I mean, in terms of playing.
But when you look at this, Brother Willie, we saw Eminem on halftime. I looked up how much Eminem is worth. Now you got other rappers that came out at the same time. They worth like 15, 20 million out of 20 years. He worth $230 million. How do you get contracts like that? How do you get to that point where you don't even really have concerts? So that's what I'm saying. Everything we do, we get the short end of the stick. You look at most entertainers, I mean, you wouldn't even think they was making that much. Madonna was back in my day. It's worth $900 million. Haven't done nothing. And you had the Temptations, all them guys died broke on drugs. And you have the Beatles, all them billionaires when they were there. So it's always been with us that we never we didn't never get a chance to come to the table, because we believe in the executives that was back then setting up the contract with the folks and thought it was good. Them NFL players think they're making good money. They not really trying to knock it. If they making $20 million a year, they saying,
well, they're making more than they've ever made before. And they figure, but they're not looking at, they don't have they're not really concerned about that they're making hundreds of billions of dollars on what you're doing. So they're looking at, gee, I got a $20 million contract. I'm good, And wherein the overall picture is that they're worth a lot more than what they're getting. So and they have no participation in ownership whatsoever.
But brain damage, that's what's going on now. It's brain damage. They had a guy named, he was on Philadelphia. He was a safety for 8 years. He went to the Pro Bowl. They brought him in. He left the game about 2006. They brought him in on a stretcher, and they picked him up. He couldn't walk. He couldn't remember his name. He couldn't even walk. So they sitting there saying that they don't know how he got it. You're supposed to have about 3 or 4 concussions or 5. That's it. This guy had about 12 and was never told. They just told him, they put him back. He knew, but he did it for the team. Now he walking around, didn't know his name. He died maybe 3 weeks later. That was about 5 or 6 years ago. They didn't want to pay his wife. Somebody didn't come from playing no football. They looked at his brain. His brain was mush.
Oh, my God.
For hitting. And
that's not the guy that they did a movie about, because they had a big movie about concussions and football.
Yeah, it was some of them players from the Steelers. All them guys was committing suicide because they had so many concussions. They couldn't focus. They couldn't think or nothing. It was quite a few of them. That was part of it. I don't know if they used him, but the NFL fought tooth and nail not to pay these guys the money that they deserve to have that would happen to them. But
why? Why is it that the money becomes an issue when you have somebody that has hurt themselves in a profession that you're benefiting from?
Yeah, because you're the first one to start it. See, they hid all that information. They didn't want nobody to know. A lot of stuff they knew, but you got to be the first. Somebody has to say something. And two, somebody got hurt. And two, they said something. They didn't say nothing either. And that's what's going on. But that's another story. In that, I'm just saying that you have to speak up, like Claudia said. Every person has to speak up. That's up to you. Now, if you're willing to lose $100, $200 million, $100 million contract, you got to think about some of these guys that may lose all that money. So that's what they're thinking about as well.
Yes. And nobody, coming from a poor family, a poor area. While I was down in, as you know, we funeralized my wife's aunt down in Lynchburg, South Carolina over the weekend, and I had a chance to go down.
Sorry to hear about that, Willie.
Yeah, I was in Charlotte, then Florence, and then we went from there with a rental car in Lynchburg. But
yes,
some of the guys that we met down there were very close friends to some of the Super Bowl winners, and they all was happy. So in that area, they were rooting, but they were friends. And so I can see why, coming from the area I was in, you get a chance to, get that kind of money. You don't want nothing to interfere with that.
Brother Willie, the showtime. It's about the showtime.
Oh, is it? Hold on. Let me get it right. Oh, no. We can still got it 1 minute. Listen, okay. We want everybody to keep it locked right here.
I said it's about showtime.
Don't you dare touch that dial. We have none other than Dr. Ben Johnson is coming up with Coach Up, and it's a very it's a great program that will help you and inspire you. He's always telling you things that if you knew, he's letting you know some things that will help you. And we have a lot of people that are listening to our programs in the prisons. The young guys, we get the letters. Sometimes we get phone calls and, telling what's going on in the prisons and things like this. So when he speaks, he's speaking to quite a few people. And so we want you to stay tuned and listen to our Dr. Ben Johnson on the Coach Up program, which is coming up right now. God bless you.
God bless you, Brother Willie. My name is Dr. Ben Johnson, also a chaplain in the hospitals. Took 1,000 hours of clinical studies, deal with trauma. But what the program I want to represent, and I really want the young men and women to know, and people, period. The day in which I always have the title of my program is What is Holding Us Back? When I looked at it and I was talking about purpose, I talked about vision. I can still go more into all these different areas, but I looked at the law of self-image. And when I was studying that, and I was saying to myself, and I was looking at everybody around, 90% of the people self-image needs to be changed. 10% of the people that's running this world, that image of themselves is high on another plateau. So when I looked at self-image, it's the ability to produce a desire or intended results. So when we look at ourselves, they said, what is holding us back? What did we think of ourselves? What is your apparel of oneself? That means what is, again, apparel? What is your apparel of oneself? And I looked at it and I was saying to myself, when you coming across things that cause you to step back. When I looked at and read the story of David, and these are principles. That's what I'm always saying. They're laws and principles that I'm telling you that can govern your life. David was in the backside of the desert watching sheep, and the sheep, he was looking and counting all the sheep, and he said one is missing. So he saw that a lion had one of the sheep. He came and pulled the lion by the mane and took the sheep out of his mouth. And I'm saying to myself, what kind of self-image is this young man have that he walked up to a lion and pulled the lamb out of it? His self-image of himself, that he knew something different. He was a different type of person. A bear tried to attack him. So when I'm looking at it, what is your image? Most people go around and don't really understand in our lives, young men and young women in prison, there's giants in the land. It's always giants that you battle. Claudette, Willie, is always a giant that you're battling to go to the next level. When you looked at David, David came in and he was anointed. And once he was anointed, when his father said, "Go, hey, get the cheese and go down there." So what I'm saying is this: he walked through an army of 30,000 individuals. And his self-image of himself, he looked and said, "What's going on here?" They said, "Goliath is cussing us out, telling us we ain't all this." Now you got a young man with a self-image walks through 30,000 what? Warriors. And then he comes. That's what I'm saying. What is your self-image that you can walk them into a situation or a room or a boardroom or an organization and know that your self-image can defeat anything that's they're throwing to you in the world? David said, "What do I get for killing this giant?" What do you get, Willie and Claudia, for killing a giant? You go to the next level. All your riches and everything is behind the giant that you're dealing with right now. I'm dealing with giants. You're dealing with giants. Claudette, Gary, everybody had giants. It depends on how you handle the situation. David said, went back and the king said, "Try this on." He said, "I can't move in this outfit." Never take on somebody else's ideology. That's what David said. You have to know who you are and what you're dealing with and bring it to the table. So what happened from that point? David came in with the self-image and said, before he said, "I stopped," when something is bigger than you and you're smaller on a smaller level, most 90% of people back off. What I mean, there's some goals out here and there's some things, once you understand your purpose, sometimes you go straight to the goals and you say, "Oh my God, I can't do that goal. That's too much time. I want to be a doctor. I want to own a business. I want to do this." I don't have the understanding. I don't have the knowledge. My parents was poor. They didn't teach me that. So instead of running to the goal, you back up and you keep backing up and you make excuses why you didn't do it. Some people right now, young men and women and people, period, are still going around in circles. What did I mean by that? They're in the wilderness, never getting to their potential because they're scared of the giant that's in front of them. So when you look at the principle of a self-image, you got to look at what is the image. Why did David understood something special that God had did from him. That's why when you look at men and women in the world today with a self-image, which is a principle, again, a law. I'm a spiritual coach, just to say that. I'm not a self-help coach. I'm a spiritual coach to help you understand spiritual principles. And when you look at that, most people see goals bigger. What do you see that's bigger in your life that you're scared of and you're running and you're not able to go forward? David understood something. He said, this day, when I read this, Brother Willie and them and Claudette, he said, where is it at? Right here. He said, then David said to the Philistine, you come with me with a sword and a spear, and with a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts.
Yes.
God of Israel, whom you define. He knew that that Goliath defying God's army. He said, this day, what day is this for you that you run to your giant and say, this day, I am not going to be defeated going to be in the NFL and be a owner. This day, I'm going to have a building. I'm not running backwards and saying that I can't do this. A lot of us are running instead of running to the enemy. David, I looked and I said, 17-year-old boy. It's people 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old still running from the giant. And what happened? David ran to him. Before that, I stopped again. Israel went round in circles in the wilderness because they got a bad report from the 12 elders. They said, we can't defeat these giants. Why? Because it was giants in the land. God gave them the land, the houses, the Benzes. This is the latest model. The Benzes, the houses, all this other stuff. He gave it to them. They said they couldn't do it. They seen in their mind that the The giants was raping their wives, taking them, doing everything. When you see something and you let the negativity get in your mind and you can see it, you're already defeated. Life is already defeated. That's why when you go toward your giant, if you can see, oh my God, if this happened, that happened, I'll lose everything. Then the giant has already defeated you. Every one of us have a giant to go to the next level. If you looked at it, when David said, this day I'm gonna do this and that to you, giant, I'm gonna cut off your head, feed it to the fox. The army of the Philistines was undefeated. They couldn't be stopped. A young boy came in with a great self-image. So what is your self-image going into a business? What is your great self-image that you can come in a situation and say, this day I'm going forward, no matter what the odds are. I have God with me. A spiritual principle. We have to deal with spiritual principles, folks. We can't be out here dealing with some affirmation or have nothing to deal with a living principle that God has. This is called the law of self-image. So once he dealt with that law, he understood. And it was also the law of victory. It's so many laws in here I could talk about. So when David went forward, also the giant comes. The giant is always going to step forward to scare you, to bring fear in you, talk about you. You go to sleep and you're dreaming about the giant. Oh man, if I don't do this, I don't have this, I don't do this. But you don't realize once you slay the giant, everything else opened up for you. When David slayed the giant, he got the king's what? Daughter. He got to be general. Did you notice everything opened up? You have men that have been in that army for 10 or 20 years, never got what David did. David did it in one day, and these men in the army been in it for 20 years because what? They were scared to face the giant. They were standing on the sideline saying, woe is me. When a young man came in and said, my self-image or what I've been doing and God has been blessing me with, I'm gonna take care of this for you guys. How many times we've been in places in our lives where doors will open up and we can kill this giant or face the giant in our lives instead of running and always on the sideline. And guess what David did when he went in? He was what? He reached his potential. So you can't reach your potential if you're always running backwards and making excuses why you can't do this or that. I don't have the education. I was the kind of person, I was doing stuff for school. I had all kind of mentors. I had Muslim mentors. They were teaching me. I always ran about something. When they said, well, Johnson, go out there and speak or something, I ran. You know that it stagnated me for about 10 years because I couldn't face the giant. I was scared to face that giant. And once I faced that giant in my life, everything started opening up. I'm wondering now, how many giants is in the lands of many of these individuals, 30 million, and they scared to face it. And now they're not going anywhere. They stagnated. How many giants, Brother Willie, Claudette, is in your life that you're sitting there and saying, woe is me? See, the giant brings, when you face it, it brings the potential out. See, everything that you go toward that seems difficult has to bring out a potential to order to do that particular thing. So the more potential reaches out, when you see great companies, I know Brother Willie don't like me, Jobs and all them, the iPhone, that's the giant he had. He had to face it. When you look at Booker T. Washington, the giant was, he didn't have no bricks or nothing. He had to face the giant, but when he took it on, the door opened up. Every time you face the giant, it takes you to your prosperity, folks. Look at David. David got the wife, he got the general, he got money. They said, Saul, you killed 1,000. David, you killed 10,000. David was not known by nobody until he walked into that camp and what? Said, I take the giant on. How many of us not known by anyone? But when we take on that giant, everybody gonna be talking about us. In some cases, wow, man, where this guy come from? Wow, where did this young lady come from? Because it's the giants that you shouldn't be running from. So I'm teaching you now self-image. You got to have the self-image that have the ability to produce. When I say produce, I mean, what do you think of yourself? When I say, what is your apparel of oneself? Guess who got one of the greatest concepts you can look at? The Army or the Marines. Only a few good men. What are they saying? Self-image. Only a few great men. You see men coming down on the ropes. They're telling you it only takes a few good men to win anything that you do. That's their self-image. So when you see the Marines, they chest poked out, they looking, they walking around because they believe and learn there's only a few of us in the earth that can do this. And then when you see them, they're on a different plateau of thinking mindset because that's their self-concept. Many companies got self-concept, and what the Army do or the Marines and stuff, they teach you. It's only a few of you guys that can finish this program. So how many programs is out here? It's only a few of you who they saying it can do it. But in God's world, all of you can do it. So what I'm saying is self-concept, they teach us that. They teach that. That's what I'm saying. If I come and teach you, I'm going to teach you who you are. Not by myself, by the Holy Spirit, that you can defeat this giant. Your self-image should be able to run at any giant and say, come on, this day, I'm going to show you what I learned. Young men and women, y'all in prison, that's your giant. Write your stuff down, write your goals, write your stuff. Whatever it takes, know that don't step backwards. Young men and women in the world that's going through things, don't jump out the window. Understand your purpose. I know it's hard and you go through things sometimes people don't even know. They be just talking. I could just be talking to you. But understand, once you understand your purpose, you're going to know that it's going to be giants. And where the giants at, and I'm telling Brother Willie and Claudette, is where all your stuff is at. Satan said, you ain't coming this way, Brother Ben, because you know you ain't going to want to face this. My mother used to say, quit trying to take shortcuts, son. And I'm like, Mom, you don't know what you're talking. I'm taking this. It took me 20 years, almost 10, 20 years to understand. There's no shortcut in life. You got to face the giant head on. And you got to defeat this giant. You can make up excuses. You can come through the world and somebody, your wife tell your baby, you can try this a different way. I'm just saying how the wives and stuff talk. You can do this and do that. You don't have to go that way. You can go. That's what Israel was doing. They was going around in circles. Why did they go around for 40 years? Because they were scared to face the giants in the land. That's how God is putting stories together. You can get what he's saying, that he's telling you. It's always going to be giants, but you can defeat them. And that's where your money at. That's where your everything God has for you is right where you do. When you run to the giant and defeat him. Notice David opened up. He had men that could kill 300 men. Because they had the anointing. Not only when you have you become a great leader. See, great leaders, he became a great leader. The anointing of him. His men was poor as church mouses. When they got with David and started winning them wars, they had spoils. And every little village they went to, they got money. Did you know they all were billionaires? When they finished, they gave to David to give to Solomon to build the temple. And when they added up the money, all of them gave about $500 million. And that was just chump change to them. God made them rich because they saw the leader who was the great one teach them not to run. Face your giant. You can defeat your giant. I'm telling you, young men and women in the jails now, don't run from it. Have a plan and go after your giants. Those that never been to jail, that's listening, face your giant. That's where everything you have, the God wants you to do. And once you face it, you go to a whole different level. Notice David came everything. He wasn't known about 2 days ago in that situation. When I'm looking at it, everybody looking at him like he crazy. Before it was over, they were saying, David, David, David. How many places did God send you right now that once you kill that giant, everybody gonna be saying, oh my God, there go Brother Willie, there go Claudette, man, they did this. Your giants where everybody fear. 90%, listen to me, 90% of people are scared to face the giant in their lives. Cut the head off of the giant. He said this day, what are you doing this day, folks? I'm wondering, what are you doing to this day to go towards your giant? Then let you know that the principle of self-image came from God. David knew when God saved him from the bear. Can you imagine? See, this is a story. Can you imagine a young man, the most fierce beast in the animal world, snatched the what? Snatched the lion by the mane. You got to be knowing something. If you could snatch the lion by the mane and snatch the what? The lamb out of his mouth. It's something. You got to know something, Brother William Claudette. It's something special. And when I looked at it, it says, David, I'm reading something. He didn't see what he didn't see what everybody else saw. He saw the invincible giant. He saw the giant as invincible. I mean, they was invisible. I'm just saying it in a way. He didn't see the giant what everybody else see. David know that was going to be wiped out. He know once he snatched that, lamb out the mouth, he knew God was always with him. I don't see nobody doing that now because he understood the self-image. Can you imagine the guy killed the lion, killed the bear, and he walked around like, man, if David was in a level inside of him, looked at himself as a young God with a small g. Why? Because it says in Psalms 86, ye are gods, but you're going to die like mere men. 82, with Psalms 82, read it. Don't die like no mere man when God has given you a great gift and become great in your life from purpose. Don't just lay down and say that's all it is because my parents taught me. Now, don't just let yourself be a stick in the mud type of individual, never doing stuff, always complaining, always using excuses that we always use, 90% of us. You in jail, young lady and men, that's just one giant that you got to defeat. You got to defeat that giant. Whether ever you're going through it in your mind, in your heart, listen to me. I'm not worried so much about something. All I want you to do is to hear what I'm saying because it's a spiritual principle I gave you. And guess what David was? A problem solver. You ever notice David came to every situation. When you understand you killed a giant, you become a solving problem. David became a great problem solver. What did he do when he killed the giant? He solved the problem. What did he do when they took when the lion took the lamb? He became a solving problem. He solved problems all the time. You're supposed to be solving problems, young man. That's why God put you in a situation. David, everywhere he went, he solved problems. That's what you're supposed to do. I'm supposed to do. Willie's supposed to do. Claudette, because once you kill the giant, there's going to be other giants that's going to be standing in the way of other people, other things, and you're supposed to help them kill it or you kill it yourself. He was a problem solver, always have been and died that way. I'm a problem solver. It's a problem in the earth for young men and women right now. And that you're going through. So I'm coming to let you know you can cut off the head of the giant. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. And I'm letting you know once you solve that problem, it's gonna be a problem in and working for a CEO. Say, oh, we can't do this. You step up and say, we can do this. And you're gonna solve that problem. It's some situations going on in the church. Oh, we can't do this. Someone's gonna step out and say, this problem is gonna be solved because I'm gonna cut the giants our head off. It's always giants. Don't run from your giant. Run to your giant because of the self-image that God want to take you to. God has defeated a lot of people, a lot of things in these people's life. Willie's life, Claudia's life. Claudia facing the giant when she could defeated the giant when she had that accident. She stood up and she ran and said, this day, this ain't gonna happen. I'm still dealing with some situation, but I'm already cut off the giant's head and always defeated the giant. She solved the problem. Willie's solving the problems now. It might be giants all in the land and we're dealing with Brother Willie and me and Claudette. But Brother Willie's running to the giants and saying, no more. I'm solving this particular problem. I'm cutting off your head so I can go to the level that God wants. God knows what's going on. He wants you to face the giant because he said that's where your wealth is at. People don't get when I say wealth because the wealth was where David was once he defeated. He was never even known by anybody. He was never even known by nothing. Once he killed him, everybody named Mama knew him. So when you looked at that, that's what's happening with us. We're not facing our giants. So we sitting in the back, Brother Willie saying, why they not doing it? It's some people gonna step up to face that giant that's in the NFL. It's some people going through the things that we going through in our life. And they say, Brother Willie, you can't defeat this. You can't get to, you've been doing this for longest. But Brother Willie said, you got 5 smooth stones, brother. And take them and run. And that's 5, you know what it stood for? 5 different principles.
Yes.
I get into that next week. But I'm saying this. We understand that. So I want y'all to know, once you understand that purpose, it's always going to be giants. Everybody has a giant. Every one of us.
Oh, yes.
So,
Dr. Johnson, please tell our listening audience how to get in touch with you where they can continuously get your training and your teaching.
Well, again, I have what you call it, coachup.com. And I would love for you guys to come in to get the full training. I would love for you guys to understand that we are here to teach, to help promote, and everybody that's out here that had the giants, My number is
Yes, yes.
678-314-6027. Let me help you defeat your giant in your
Say that
life.
number again. Give that number a little slower.
678-314-6027.
And that's Coach Up every week. You can hear Dr. Ben Johnson here right at CFC at 3:30 on WPAT, 9:30 on your AM dial. And we thank God for him. I got to tell you, we are excited about what's happening here within the Christian Fellowship Council. As he said, we are running 2-hour giant. We're here on Wall Street and the cash register of the world. And that's a giant. But God has placed us here. We've been here for a few years and we plan to be here. And we want you to continue to work with us, to tune in. We're right there on the radio. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and you can get us on, you can go right to see this program again at, Willie Saunders, CFC on YouTube, and you can pull us up that way. We can also go to CFCpage.com to find out a little bit more about the Christian Fellowship Council organization. We want you to continue to tune in, although we're going to be going off in a few minutes. Right now, we want you to stay tuned with us. Right now, we have CFC Gospel Radio is coming up next here on the 5 o'clock hour with none other than our very own Pastor Staten, Lawrence Staten, which is our programmer, radio. He's our programmer of the CFC, the Christian Fellowship Council. And he will be bringing you different ministries, and also great music. And immediately after that program at 5 p.m., 5 to 6, Positive Proof Ministries will be coming up with none other than Apostle Frankie Garris will be coming to you. And that's a program you can call in, and you may have some issues that you need prayer about. He can get prayer. You can put you right through the prayer line. And on tomorrow, Claudine, I really want you to remind me that we have some testimonies where we've had prayer and God has come in and worked miracles.
Amen.
And so I don't want any of you to miss it. I had some phone calls today where people call me and say, God performed a miracle. Only God can do it. So running 2-hour giant and handling the issues that we are going through, God give us the ability to, and Satan tries to smoke it up, give us the spirit of fear. And that's not the spirit of God. The spirit of fear is of the devil. And so again, we want to just thank God for where he has placed us. Again, you can go to CFC page, page.com, and you'll see if you would like to donate money. It's all tax deductible. Go to their CFCpage.com and click on donate, and you'll see everything that you have to put in, how you want, if you want to do it monthly. And we want to thank God for those that have donated and those that are donating and being a part of the Christian Fellowship Council. We thank God for you. And I just want to say that God has given us some beautiful people. And for this day and time, we're not here by accident. There's a reason why we are here put in these spots. Who would have thunk that we would think about it? Any one of us would be here on Wall Street, on a New York radio station, with the kind of time that we have, which it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to be here on Wall Street. Only God could do that. Only God could do that. And so we thank all of you for listening and participating. We thank you, Brother Gary. We thank Brother Gary. Brother Gary has got us on different platforms. We thank him for all of the things that he do for the Christian Fellowship Council, our sister Claudine, and Dr. Ben Johnson, all of our team. We have a huge team our brother Fitzgerald with Candid. That's the one I forgot to tell you. Tomorrow, we have CFC coming on. We'll be here from 3 o'clock to 6 p.m. So if you missed it today, you got 3 hours to catch up with it tomorrow. We're going to tell you about some of the miracles. And Brother Gary told you we have a special guest that's coming on I'm very interested in some of the things that she's doing. And so we'll know tomorrow. You'll be able to listen to it. Again, we want to thank you, Sister Claudine, for being a part of us. And I tell you what, again, Brother Dr. Johnson, we only have about another minute and a half on the radio here. I would like for you to give your information because some of these young men in the prisons, they're listening to this and they're hearing it. We want to make it very easy for them. A lot of them have to get special times. And if you're not on their call list, they can't get in touch with you. And I think they change the list every year. They have to put the numbers down write it down in advance. So the people that can talk with them or the people that they can call is done once a year. So what you might want to do is give your number a few times so they can hear it. And maybe they can't put it down right now or when that cycle comes up where they can call you. But you can write him. You can write our Dr. Johnson. Can you give them a little more information?
Yes. Again, right quick, the telephone number is 678-314-6027. The website is coachup.com. I would love for you guys, like you said, to get there. Again, the number is 678-314-6027. God bless you. Kill your giant today.
Yes. Kill the giant. That's what we should have named this program. Kill your giant. Listen, our time is running. Sister Claudine, we want to thank you. And Sister Claudine program will be coming on tomorrow too within the next 3 hours. So we want you to tune in. You will be hearing from her personally, and she's giving you some tidbits that will help you also. God bless. Thank you for tuning in. See you tomorrow.
Amen.
See you tomorrow. Bless you guys.
See you tomorrow.